The courtroom doors swing open, and a wave of whispers fills the air. Kody Brown steps in first, adjusting his tie, but there's no comfort in the motion. Only a practiced attempt at calm. 4 wives trail behind him, each carrying a weight far heavier than the case itself. Mary, Christine, Janelle, Robin, their eyes scan the room, a mix of fear, defiance, and fragile hope reflected in each glance. It's not just a courtroom, it's a stage, and the entire town has front row seats. Cameras line the walls, capturing every nervous tick, every subtle gesture. The judge, a stern woman in her 50s, surveys the family like a hawk, flipping through her notes, her pen poised to catch any slip. The air is thick, tension practically hums like electricity. The bailiff clears his throat. All rise. Everyone stands. Kody feels the eyes of strangers and family alike boring into him. He swallows, steadying himself, but even the smallest movement betrays the anxiety bubbling beneath. Today, every secret, every whispered conversation in the Brown household could be brought into the harsh light of legality. Be seated, the judge commands. Her voice slices through the murmurs, a reminder that this is serious, that there's no turning back. The prosecutor, a sharp-eyed woman with a clipped voice, stands. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to uncover the truth. And that truth, she pauses, letting her gaze sweep across the family, may change everything you think you know about the Brown family. You might think you know this family, but what's coming next will challenge everything. Mary shifts in her chair, the edge of her hand trembling slightly. Christine sits rigid, a mask of composure she's perfected over years of scrutiny. Janelle's eyes glisten, betraying a storm of emotions she can't contain. Robin's jaw tightens, determination etched into her features. Kody reaches for a hand to steady himself, but there's no one near enough. He feels the enormity of what's ahead: testimony, cross-examination, and the eventual unraveling of the lives he's worked to protect. The prosecutor's first question lands like a hammer. Mr. Brown, were all of your marriages legally recognized under state law? A hush falls. The room leans in. Kody swallows hard. No, he admits, his voice low but clear. The simple word reverberates like a shockwave through the courtroom. Cameras click. The judge frowns. And somewhere deep in the back, the children shift nervously, sensing the tension they've always been shielded from. Everything the Browns thought was private is now under scrutiny, and the truth, once whispered, is screaming for attention. Christine leans slightly toward Kody. Her whisper is barely audible. We have to stay together, no matter what happens. Mary's voice cracks as she mutters under her breath. I never thought it would come to this. The prosecutor leans forward, eyes sharp. Mr. Brown, I need you to explain why you believed you could conduct multiple marriages knowing the legal risks, and why your family allowed it. Kody exhales slowly. Every memory, every decision flashes before him. He wants to justify, to explain, but he knows words may not be enough. One false move here, and everything could collapse. As the questioning continues, the camera pans to the wives. Tension grows in layers between the women, between the children and parents, between the family and the law. Each glance, each hesitation speaks volumes. They've lived with this secret for years, but today, the walls they built are cracking. The room feels smaller with every word spoken, and the storm that's coming might be unstoppable. The judge interrupts. We will take a short recess. The gavel strikes. The courtroom erupts into whispers and shuffling feet. Kody leans back, trying to mask his fear. Mary clutches her notes. Christine's hands are rigid. Janelle bites her lip. Robin exhales sharply, her mind racing. Outside the courtroom, the hallways are quieter, almost deceptively calm. But Kody knows it won't last. The truth waiting in the wings isn't gentle, and the next session could destroy everything, or at least everything they think they know. And then, as Kody turns to face his family, a reporter leans forward, pressing a single question that makes his stomach drop. What are you hiding from the court that you've never admitted before? The family freezes. Silence hangs thick. The trial hasn't even truly begun. and already the first cracks are showing. The question hangs in the air, unanswered, and in that pause, everyone in the courtroom feels it. The real drama has only just begun. The courtroom settles as the recess ends. The air is thick, almost suffocating, with anticipation. Kody takes his seat at the defense table, a mask of calm covering the storm inside. The judge gestures to Mary to step forward. She rises slowly, her hands trembling slightly, clutching the notes she's brought, as if they are a shield against the world. The prosecutor fixes her with an unwavering stare. Mary Brown, please state your relationship with the defendant and your knowledge of the marriages involved. Mary swallows hard, her voice barely above a whisper. I am one of Kody's wives. I have lived with him for over 20 years, and I love him, but I know that not all of our marriages are legally recognized. A murmur ripples through the courtroom. Cameras pivot, capturing every twitch of her face, every flicker of emotion. She pauses, taking a deep breath. It wasn't always easy. There were times I questioned everything. Times I wondered if we were doing the right thing. Even the strongest people break under pressure, and Mary's honesty is a reminder of the weight these secrets carry. Christine steps forward next, her posture impeccable, her eyes cold yet fierce. I've always believed in the family, but there are moments, she says, voice steady but laced with barely contained emotion, when I've felt invisible, when the decisions made by Kody, or by others, made me question my place in this family. The prosecutor leans in, sensing the vulnerability. Can you explain a time when that tension became critical? Christine hesitates, swallowing against the lump in her throat. There was a night, I remember clearly, when a decision about finances and family responsibilities was made without my input. I felt excluded. And it wasn't the first time. The judge scribbles notes, attentive to every word, every nuance. The tension thickens. Every confession, every small crack, could tip the scales in ways no one anticipates. Janelle's turn comes, and her voice shakes as she rises. She clasps her hands tightly in front of her. I've always tried to be supportive. I've loved Kody, loved my children. But there's a fear that follows us. A fear that our family, our life, could be taken apart in an instant, because of laws we cannot control. Her eyes dart toward her children in the gallery. I worry about them more than anything. The constant scrutiny, the questions, it's overwhelming. And sometimes, I wonder if our way of life, if our love, is enough to protect us from the world outside. The courtroom feels heavier with every word, as if the walls themselves are pressing in, absorbing the weight of decades of hidden emotions. Robin steps forward last, her expression serene yet fierce. I joined this family later than the others. I knew the risks. I knew the eyes that would watch. But I also knew that love isn't simple. It's complicated, messy, and sometimes, dangerous. I accepted that. But I never expected it to reach this point, to have every detail of our lives dissected in front of strangers. The prosecutor's gaze sharpens. And yet here you are. Why do you think the family allowed this to happen? Robin's voice tightens, emotion threading through every syllable. Because we trusted each other. We trusted Kody. And perhaps, we trusted too much. Love doesn't always protect you from the consequences of your choices. Even loyalty has its limits. And the tension between love and law is palpable in every corner of the room. As the testimonies unfold, Kody watches silently. He feels a mix of pride and guilt, admiration for his wife's strength, and fear at the vulnerability laid bare before the court. The emotional energy in the room is electric, charged with years of unspoken truths finally surfacing. It's not just about legality. It's about love, sacrifice, and the consequences of choices that no law can fully encompass. The judge calls a short break, giving everyone a moment to breathe. Outside the courtroom, reporters whisper into microphones, scribble into notebooks, and capture the tension in every photograph. The family gathers briefly, their hands brushing together for reassurance, an unspoken pact forming among them. Stay strong, Christine whispers to Mary, who nods, tears glimmering in her eyes. Janelle clutches Robin's arm for support. Kody exhales, feeling the weight of the family pressing against him. In that moment, they understand. This is more than a courtroom battle. It's a test of their love, their resilience, and their ability to face the truth together. The courtroom is quiet again. The judge, a figure of authority and impartiality, leans forward on the bench, her eyes scanning the family as if searching for hidden truths. The prosecutor rises, her movements precise, deliberate. She knows exactly where to strike first. Kody Brown, she begins, her voice steady but cold. You claim to love your family, but love alone does not protect you from the law. Were there times when you knowingly misled the authorities about your marriages? Kody straightens, jaw tight. The words feel like a weight pressing down on his chest. I tried to follow the rules where I could, he says carefully, but his voice trembles slightly, betraying the fear beneath the practiced calm. The prosecutor leans in, her tone sharp. Tried? That doesn't sound like the truth. Can you explain why multiple property deeds list your wives under names that are not legally recognized? Mary shifts in her chair, glancing at Kody. Her fingers curl around her notes, knuckles white. We tried to protect the children and the family. It was never about hiding wrongdoing, she whispers. Even small half-truths can explode under scrutiny, and the tension in the room is almost unbearable. Christine rises, her posture rigid, eyes flashing with a mix of anger and sadness. There were times I felt completely erased. Even its court, this fort completely erased. Decisions made without my input, moments that made me feel invisible. I was expected to comply, to trust blindly. But trust doesn't erase the law. The prosecutor nods subtly, pressing on. And yet you continued living this way, knowing the potential consequences. Christine swallows hard. Her voice is measured but laced with emotion. Yes, because despite everything, this family, this life, was all we had. We believed in each other. And perhaps, we believed in a kind of justice that doesn't exist outside these walls. Across the room, Janelle's hands tremble as she rises. She speaks quickly, her words coming in a rush. I've tried to be loyal. I've tried to trust. But the secrecy, the constant fear of exposure, it eats at you. I wake up some nights, wondering if the life we've built is just a lie waiting to be exposed. Fear can twist love into something fragile, and the prosecutor senses that every hesitation is a crack she can exploit. Robin stands last, her eyes sweeping the courtroom with quiet intensity. I joined this family knowing the complications. I accepted them, but no one expected the scrutiny, the judgment, the way every choice would be questioned, as if we were criminals, instead of a family. The prosecutor leans in closer, voice almost a whisper but sharp enough to echo through the room. And yet here you are. How do you justify placing your children in this situation? Robin exhales slowly. We didn't choose this. We were born into it, shaped by it, and now we face it together. Because love doesn't guarantee safety, but it does demand courage. Courage in the face of scrutiny can feel like walking a tightrope over an abyss. One misstep could ruin everything. The judge interrupts, calling for a short pause. Papers shuffle. The family gathers briefly, and tension bubbles between them. Like a hidden storm, whispers pass between the wives, eyes flicking nervously at Kody. We've held so much in for so long, Janelle says softly. I don't know if we can survive this. Mary's voice is steady but quiet. We have to. For the kids. For us. For everything we've built. The prosecutor, sensing the shift, rises with renewed energy. She begins presenting evidence. Photographs of family events. Letters with signatures that contradict legal records. Even recordings of conversations hinting at concealed decisions. The court leans in, the air thick with disbelief. Every photo, every document, every word spoken in this room chips away at the veneer of normalcy. The Browns have tried to maintain. Kody watches as his family reacts. Christine's hands tighten into fists. Mary bites her lip to hold back tears. Janelle's eyes dart to the floor, unable to meet the gaze of strangers dissecting their lives. Robin exhales sharply, jaw set in silent defiance. Each of them is bracing for the inevitable. The weight of years of secrecy finally manifesting in plain sight. The judge frowns as she reviews the evidence. The room is quiet, almost unbearably so, as if everyone is holding their breath. This isn't just a legal case. It's a revelation of years of hidden truths, of love tangled with fear, of choices made under pressure, now laid bare for judgment. And in this moment, the Browns realize something chilling. The courtroom is no longer just a place of law. It's a stage where every secret, every fear, and every regret will be displayed for the world to see. The courtroom feels heavier than ever. The walls, once just barriers between the family and the law, now seem like witnesses themselves, absorbing every whispered fear and trembling breath. Kody sits at the defense table, fingers interlaced, knuckles white. His mind races through every choice, every secret, every moment that brought them here. The prosecutor rises again, a faint smirk playing on her lips. "Let's talk about the children," she says, voice calm but cutting. The room stiffens. Every parent instinctively tenses. Every mother's gaze snaps toward the gallery, where the children sit quietly, their small hands fidgeting in laps, wide eyes reflecting fear they barely understand. Christine's hands tremble as she grips the table. "They are innocent," she whispers, almost to herself. "They don't deserve this." The prosecutor tilts her head. "And yet you involve them in decisions that could have serious legal consequences. Did you ever consider how your choices affected them?" Janelle exhales sharply, trying to steady herself. Her voice shakes. "We did what we thought was best. We protected them as best we could. But now I see how fragile that protection was. How little control we actually had." Even the most loving intentions can spiral into unintended consequences. And in this courtroom, love feels powerless. Robin stands slowly, her eyes scanning the courtroom. "We wanted a family, a strong, connected family. But the scrutiny, the lies, the pressure, it's a constant storm. And some days we feel like we're drowning in it." The prosecutor pounces. "Mr. Brown, did you ever think about the consequences? About what could happen if these secrets came out?" Kody swallows hard, voice low but steady. "I thought we could manage it, that our family's love would be enough. But now I see how naive that was." The judge scribbles notes, silent yet imposing, as the tension between the families and the law escalates. Cameras click, recording every tremor, every glance, every hesitant breath. This is no longer just a courtroom. It is a crucible, testing every bond, every promise, every hidden truth. When secrets are exposed under the harshest light, the strongest bonds are tested, and sometimes even love can crack. Mary finally rises, her eyes wet with unshed tears. "I've carried so much weight," she says, voice cracking, "years of hiding my pain, swallowing my fears, and now I'm forced to relive it all in front of strangers. I love my family, but love doesn't make fear disappear." The courtroom goes quiet as she lowers herself back into her seat. Chest heaving, Kody reaches out subtly, brushing her hand. It's a small gesture, but it speaks volumes. A silent acknowledgement of shared suffering, of bonds that cannot be erased even in the darkest moments. Then, the prosecutor drops a bombshell. "We have testimony from a former family friend who claims that some of the family decisions were influenced not just by love, but by control and manipulation. Can you respond to that, Mr. Brown?" Kody stiffens, eyes narrowing slightly. "Control? Manipulation? I guided, I protected, I loved. But I never intended to hurt anyone." Intentions don't erase impact. And in this courtroom, the consequences are as visible as the emotions etched across their faces. Christine leans forward, whispering to Kody, "This is more than a legal battle now. It's personal." Mary bites her lip, shaking her head slightly. "Every time I think we've survived the worst, something worse comes." Chanel's hands curl into fists, knuckles white. "I've spent years hiding my doubts, pretending I was okay. But standing here, it all comes crashing back." Robin exhales, jaw tight, eyes fixed on the floor. "We've carried too much in silence. And now it's out in the open. And there's no turning back." The prosecutor smiles thinly. "Let's move to specific incidents. Times when decisions made in secrecy directly impacted the family's safety or finances. Mr. Brown, were you aware of the risks involved?" Kody swallows. I I thought I was making the right choices for everyone. The room is electric, tension crackling like a storm ready to break. Every testimony, every confession, every tremor of emotion chips away at the carefully constructed image of the family. The wives exchange fleeting glances, unspoken acknowledgement passing between them. That no matter what happens, they are facing this together. The courtroom isn't just about law, it's about every hidden pain, every unspoken fear, and every choice that brought this family to the edge. The courtroom feels suffocating. The air is thick with anticipation, and every movement seems amplified. A shifting foot, a cleared throat, a stifled gasp. Kody sits rigid, staring at the floor, knowing that the next moments could undo everything he's tried to protect. The prosecutor rises, eyes glinting with purpose. Let's talk about the family finances. She begins, voice steady, deliberate. Mr. Brown, were all decisions regarding property, money, and inheritance made with the consent of your wives? Kody exhales slowly. I tried. I consulted when I could, but some decisions had to be made quickly. Mary shifts uncomfortably. It wasn't always simple, she says, quietly. There were times we disagreed, but we trusted him. We had no reason to think that trust would be questioned like this. Trust can crumble in an instant, and the courtroom is proving it. The prosecutor produces a set of documents, bank statements, property deeds, and letters. These records indicate transfers and arrangements that some of your wives were not aware of. Care to explain? Christine leans forward, jaw tight. We were blindsided at times. Decisions were made without our knowledge, and we felt powerless. We believed in the family. But, her voice falters, and she swallows hard. We didn't realize the consequences. A hush falls. The gallery is silent. The children fidget, sensing the tension, but not fully understanding it. Flashbacks seem to play in Kody's mind. Quiet arguments in the kitchen, whispered phone calls, nights of sleepless worry. Every memory, every small choice, is laid bare under the unforgiving eyes of the court. Even the smallest secrets, hidden to protect, can turn into evidence of mistrust when exposed. Janelle is called next. Her eyes flick toward the gallery, then back at the judge. I've always tried to protect the children, she says, voice barely audible. But I've also lived with fear. Fear of exposure. Fear of judgment. Fear that everything we've built would be torn apart. And now? Her hands shake. Now it's all coming to light. Robin rises, her calm veneer cracking slightly. I knew there would be scrutiny. I accepted that. But I never thought we'd face accusations that our love, the very foundation of our family, could be questioned in this way. The prosecutor's gaze sharpens. Love doesn't excuse secrecy, Mrs. Brown. These decisions had consequences. For the family, for the children. How do you justify that? Robin exhales, eyes narrowing. We made choices to survive, to protect each other. We believed the intentions mattered. But intentions don't always match reality. Sometimes the truth isn't what you intended. It's what actually happened. And the law demands accountability. Suddenly, the prosecutor presents a witness. A former family friend who speaks of nights when decisions were made in secrecy, letters hidden, and arguments hushed. The room tenses as their words drip with implication. Trust may have been present, but control and manipulation lurked in the shadows. Christine flinches. Mary bites her lip, struggling to hold back tears. Janelle's hands clench into fists. Robin exhales, jaw tight, refusing to meet the witness's eyes. Kody leans forward, voice low. I never wanted to manipulate anyone. I wanted to protect the family, to keep us together. The witness shakes their head. Protection doesn't always look like love. Sometimes it looks like control, even when you don't realize it. In the quiet of the courtroom, a chilling realization settles over the Browns. Love and trust are fragile when secrets grow too large to contain. The judge interrupts, motioning for calm. Papers shuffle. Cameras click. The family exchanges fleeting glances, silent acknowledgments of pain, regret, and fear. The children fidget, trying to understand the tension that has filled their world for years. Mary leans toward Kody, voice trembling. We thought love was enough. But maybe we were wrong. Christine nods slightly, eyes glistening. We believed in each other. But belief doesn't erase consequences. Janelle swallows hard. We've survived a lot. But this is something else entirely. Robin exclaims softly, voice shaking with quiet determination. We face this together. Because even if we falter, we cannot abandon each other now. Even in the face of exposure, fear and judgment, the Browns cling to each other, knowing that their bonds may be all that save them from collapse. The judge calls for another recess. The family gathers, huddling in a corner of the courtroom, voices low but urgent. We need to stay strong, Christine whispers. This is just the beginning of what we'll face today. Mary nods, tears streaking her face. We have no choice but to endure, together. Kody places a hand gently on each wife's shoulder, feeling the tremor of fear beneath their courage. We survive as a family, he says quietly. No matter what. The courtroom hums with anticipation as the session ends, everyone acutely aware that the revelations so far are only the surface. The family's secrets have begun to unravel, and the emotional journey is far from over. The courtroom is tense again, but the energy has shifted. It's no longer only the prosecutor pressing for answers. Subtle glances and unspoken tensions among the wives are now palpable. Each woman carries her own mix of anger, fear, and betrayal. And the strain of years spent navigating secrecy is coming to the surface. Christine's eyes narrow as she leans slightly toward Kody. I can't believe some of these decisions were made without me, she mutters, voice low but sharp. How could you just decide? Kody shifts uncomfortably, glancing at Mary, who sits silently, her lips pressed into a thin line. It wasn't about excluding anyone, he says cautiously. I thought I was doing what was best. Mary finally speaks, voice trembling but controlled. Best for whom, Kody? For you, or for all of us? The prosecutor senses the tension and leans forward. Ladies, if we could have your testimony regarding internal family disagreements. Were there times when your relationships with each other strained because of these choices? Christine exhales sharply. There were many, she admits, her jaw tightening. Moments when I felt invisible. Moments when decisions were made without any consideration for my role or my opinion. It wasn't just frustration. It was fear. Fear that my voice didn't matter. Even in families bound by love, unspoken resentment can grow into something dangerous. Janelle's hands tremble as she stands to speak. I've always tried to keep the peace, but some nights, the arguments, the secrecy, I wonder if we're all just pretending. Everything's okay while it's breaking inside. Robin looks down at the table, her fingers fidgeting with her notes. I came into this family later, thinking I understood the dynamics. But seeing how fragile everything is, I didn't realize how much tension was already brewing, how much hurt had been buried. The prosecutor presses further, her tone sharp but controlled. And how did these conflicts affect your ability to make decisions for the family? Did disagreements ever escalate into emotional or financial consequences? Christine's eyes flicked toward Kody, voice tense. Absolutely, decisions weren't just disagreements, they became power struggles. We love this family, but there's no denying the fractures. Every choice made in secrecy widened those fractures. Harry bites her lip, staring at the floor. It's hard to admit, but yes, some things could have been prevented. If we had communicated better, if we had trusted each other enough to be honest. Secrets can't stay buried forever, and sometimes love alone isn't enough to hold a family together. Janelle swallows hard, tears welling in her eyes. We tried. God, we tried. But the walls we built, the careful balances, they were all fragile. And today, it's all coming apart in front of everyone. The prosecutor glances at Kody, then back at the wives. Harry, Mr. Brown, how did you handle these conflicts? Did you intervene, mediate, or ignore them? Kody's face tightens, jaw clenching. I tried to mediate, to guide, but some days it felt like no matter what I did, the cracks only got deeper. I never wanted them to feel silenced. I never wanted to hurt anyone. Robin finally raises her head, her voice steadier now, tinged with quiet frustration. Intentions don't erase impact. Even if you wanted to protect us, Kody, some decisions caused hurt, and some of that hurt is still very raw. Mary shifts in her chair, glaring briefly at Christine. And you don't think you've contributed to the tension? Christine's eyes flare. I've tried to survive in a system that wasn't fair to any of us. You think I haven't felt the same frustrations? The courtroom feels almost charged with electricity. Whispered murmurs ripple through the gallery, as the women's voices, once calm and controlled, now crack with raw emotion. It's no longer just a courtroom battle between the family and the law. It's a war of unspoken grievances, long-held resentments, and the emotional cost of secrecy. Even the strongest bonds can fracture when trust is tested repeatedly, and the tension between love and resentment becomes almost unbearable. The judge leans forward, signaling for calm. Ladies, please remain seated. Let's continue with testimony regarding specific incidents that affected the family dynamic. Mary exhales, leaning back slightly. I don't know how we survived some of this. Christine folds her arms, lips pressed into a thin line. Survived? We survived by hiding half the truth from each other. And now it's all out in the open. Janelle nods slightly, wiping her eyes. We've all carried so much pain in silence. But maybe it's time we stop pretending we're okay. Robin exhales sharply, jaw set, eyes glimmering with determination. Facing the truth isn't easy, but if we can survive this, if we can survive each other, then maybe we can survive anything. The courtroom isn't just a place for justice. It's a mirror, reflecting every flaw, every fear, and every fragment of love that has held this family together for so long. The courtroom is electric. Every eye is fixed on Kody as he rises to take the stand. His shoulders are squared, but beneath the composed exterior, a storm rages. The weight of years of secrecy, of balancing love and law, now bears down in a way he's never experienced. The prosecutor leans forward, eyes sharp. Mr. Brown, you've admitted to having multiple marriages not legally recognized. Did you ever consider the legal consequences of these actions? Kody swallows hard, the words catching in his throat. I believed in my family. I believed that our love and unity could protect us. I never imagined this. Sometimes the strongest intentions can lead to the most devastating consequences. The prosecutor's gaze narrows. Belief doesn't excuse illegal actions. Were you aware that these decisions could affect your children's inheritance, legal status, and even social standing? Kody hesitates. His eyes flicker toward the gallery, where his wives sit, their faces masks of strength yet streaked with emotion. He exhales slowly. I tried to make the best choices I could under difficult circumstances. I wanted to protect them. I wanted to protect all of us. The judge scribbles notes, silent and unyielding. The tension in the room is almost unbearable. Every word Kody speaks is dissected, every pause analyzed. Then the prosecutor shifts, leaning closer, her voice sharp and cutting. Mr. Brown, there are records of property and financial decisions made without the consent of your wives. How do you respond to accusations that you exercised control rather than shared leadership? Kody's hands tremble slightly as he grips the edge of the witness stand. I, Jenna, never meant to control anyone. I tried to guide, to provide stability, but I see now that my actions were interpreted differently. And I regret the pain it caused. Regret can be heavier than any legal sentence, and the courtroom feels the weight of it. The prosecutor doesn't relent. There are also letters and testimony suggesting that some decisions were made to conceal information from family members. Were these actions intended to manipulate or protect? Kody's jaw tightens. He pauses, glancing at his wives. His voice is low, trembling with a mixture of fear, sorrow, and sincerity. Protection. Always protection. I never intended to manipulate. But I understand now how it appeared that way. And I take full responsibility for that misunderstanding. Mary leans forward slightly, voice barely audible, trembling with emotion. We trusted you, Kody. We trusted that every choice you made was for the family. But sometimes that trust felt broken. Christine shifts in her seat, eyes flashing. Broken, yes. But not irreparable. We are still here, still fighting to hold this family together. And that's why he sits here, facing the consequences of his choices. The prosecutor pauses, then presses, voice colder. Facing consequences isn't just about legality. It's about accountability. Mr. Brown, did you ever truly consider how these decisions affected the mental and emotional well-being of your wives and children? Kody's face tightens. His eyes glisten with unshed tears. Every day, he admits. Every single day, I thought about how to protect them, how to love them, how to keep this family whole. And yet, I know I failed in ways I can't undo. Even the strongest father, the most devoted husband, can be vulnerable under the weight of truth. The judge shifts in her seat, watching intently. The court is silent but tense. Every heartbeat feels louder than the last. Kody's voice cracks slightly as he continues. I never wanted anyone to feel powerless. I only wanted to create a life of love and stability. And now I realize that love alone isn't always enough. Robin reaches out, touching Kody's hand softly. He glances at her, a flicker of gratitude and relief crossing his features. The room feels momentarily lighter, but only slightly. The shadows of consequences remain looming. Accountability is never easy, but it is necessary, even when it threatens the very bonds you fought to protect. The prosecutor leans in for one final sharp question. Mr. Brown, given everything that has happened, everything that's been revealed in this courtroom, do you believe your family can survive the scrutiny? Kody exhales, a long trembling breath, his eyes sweeping across his wives and children. I don't know, but I hope. And I will do everything I can to protect them, to keep them together. Love brought us here, and love must carry us through. The courtroom is silent, heavy with emotion. Witnesses, family, and observers alike feel the raw vulnerability in Kody's words. There's no judgment yet, no verdict. But in that moment, the heart of the Brown family is exposed for all to see. Strong, flawed, and desperately holding on. Even in the face of exposure, fear, and judgment, love remains both a shield and a vulnerability. The courtroom feels charged, every person holding their breath. The prosecutor stands, a stack of files in her hands, her gaze sharp and unyielding. We have new evidence, she announces, voice steady but filled with weight. Evidence that reveals previously undisclosed decisions, correspondence, and financial transactions that directly impact this family. Kody's stomach tightens, his hands clasped together, knuckles white. He glances at the wives, each of them frozen, faces pale, eyes wide. For the first time, the reality of what is about to be unveiled hits them all. The first set of documents is projected onto the courtroom screen. Property deeds, bank transfers, and letters filled with hidden details flicker across the large monitor. Murmurs ripple through the audience as connections and discrepancies become clear. Even the smallest detail, when revealed at the wrong moment, can change everything. Mary's hand flies to her mouth. I didn't know this was happening, she whispers, voice shaking. Her gaze meets Kody's, full of both betrayal and pain. Christine leans forward, eyes narrowed. We trusted each other. Every decision was meant to be transparent. How did we not see this? The prosecutor flips to a series of emails, each one carefully timed, showing decisions made without consulting some of the wives. These communications show a pattern, she says. A pattern of unilateral decisions that affected not just property, but family resources and dynamics. Janelle's fingers curl into fists. Her voice trembles as she speaks under her breath. How could this happen? All these years, and none of us saw it. Robin exhales sharply, jaw tight. It's one thing to make mistakes. But this feels deliberate. The prosecutor's next piece of evidence shocks everyone further. Audio recordings of conversations between Kody and an associate, discussing how to manage family finances and property, without revealing the full truth to the wives. The room goes silent as the audio plays, every word heavy with implication. When private conversations become public, there is no turning back. Every intention is scrutinized, every choice questioned. Kody swallows hard, his hands gripping the edge of the stand. I thought I was protecting everyone. I never intended to deceive or manipulate. Every choice I made, I believed was for the family's best interest. Mary shakes her head slowly. Best interest. How can it be the best interest if it wasn't shared? If we weren't included? Christine's voice cracks. This could ruin everything. Not just the court case. Our trust, our family, our lives. The prosecutor leans in, voice calm but relentless. Mr. Brown, you've admitted to love and intentions, but this evidence suggests a gap between intention and action. How do you justify that? Kody exhales, voice low but firm. I cannot undo the past. I can only face it. And I can only try to protect my family now, with honesty, however late it may be. Even the most loyal intentions are tested when the evidence speaks louder than words. The judge studies the evidence, eyes scanning each document carefully. The gallery sits in stunned silence. Cameras click incessantly, capturing every reaction. The wives' pale, shocked faces, the children's small, worried gestures, and Kody's tense posture. The prosecutor pushes further. There's more. Testimony from a family accountant and neighbor confirms that some decisions were made in secrecy, influencing the distribution of assets and control of the household. These are not trivial oversights. They affected the entire family structure. Janelle exhales sharply, tears threatening to spill. We've always believed in fairness, in trust. And now, what do we even believe in? Robin grips the edge of the table, her knuckles white. We have to survive this. Not just the court, but ourselves. If we fall apart here, we lose everything. The judge raises a hand for silence, her gaze sharp. The court acknowledges the severity of these revelations. We will proceed carefully, but these documents and testimonies will be considered in full. In that moment, the family realizes the courtroom is no longer a place for discussion. It's a crucible, exposing every fault line, every unspoken fear, and every fracture in the bonds they've relied on for years. The prosecutor closes the folder with a quiet snap, eyes fixed on Kody. The evidence doesn't lie. Every action has consequences. Mr. Brown, the question now is whether your family can withstand the truth. Mary exhales slowly, looking at Christine, Janelle, and Robin. We survived this far, she whispers. We have to survive what comes next. Even when the truth is painful and undeniable, the only way forward is together, for better or worse. The courtroom falls into tense silence. As the prosecutor sits, a faint smirk still lingering. The evidence has been laid bare, the family's secrets exposed in vivid detail, and now all eyes turn toward the judge. She leans forward, fingers steepled, her gaze sharp and unwavering. Every subtle twitch of her pen, every flick of her eyes across the room, feels monumental. Kody sits at the defense table, shoulders tense, hands clasped together. The wives remain poised but shaken, their faces pale from the emotional roller coaster of the past sessions. Mary bites her lip, Christine folds her arms tightly, Janelle fidgets, and Robin's jaw is set in quiet determination. The air is heavy with anticipation. The judge clears her throat. I have reviewed the evidence, testimony, and cross-examinations. This case presents not only legal questions but deeply personal ones, about family, trust, and responsibility. Her eyes shift to Kody. Mr. Brown, you have admitted to intentions driven by love, but your actions have had consequences. Even love, when intertwined with secrecy and flawed judgment, can lead to profound consequences. The prosecutor rises for closing arguments. Your Honor, this family has lived with secrecy for years. Decisions made unilaterally, information withheld, and actions taken without consent have impacted every member of this household. Intentions may have been pure, but the results were not. Accountability is necessary, not just for the law, but for the healing of this family. Mary exhales quietly, glancing at her children in the gallery. Her eyes glisten with emotion. We've faced judgment from within our own family, and now from the law, but we remain a family. That's the truth I want the court to understand. Christine rises for her closing words, voice steady but filled with emotion. We have loved fiercely, trusted blindly, and survived in ways that many cannot imagine. Our mistakes have consequences. Yes, but so does every act of love and protection. We are here, together, and we will continue to stand together. Even in the face of judgment, the resilience of family can be a force that defies expectation. Janelle steps forward, tears brimming but controlled. This trial has forced us to confront truths we've hidden from ourselves. It has exposed the fractures and the failures. But it has also reminded us of our strength. The way we survive, the way we endure, defines who we are. Robin's turn comes. Voice calm but resonant. We are not perfect. We never claim to be, but we are devoted to each other. And that devotion has shaped every choice, every sacrifice, every risk. It is that devotion I hope this court understands. Even as it weighs the law. The judge leans back slightly, expression unreadable. The courtroom holds its collective breath. Kody shifts slightly in his seat, feeling the enormity of the moment pressing down on him. The weight of judgment is not only legal, it is emotional, moral, and deeply personal. Finally, the judge speaks, her voice firm and deliberate. This case is complex. It involves choices made with love, but also mistakes with consequences. I have listened to every testimony, reviewed every piece of evidence, and considered the impact on every member of this family. It is clear that while intentions matter, actions cannot be ignored. The family sits in tense silence, absorbing the gravity of her words. Mary reaches subtly for Kody's hand, a small gesture of reassurance. Christine exhales, folding her hands tightly. Janelle glances at Robin, whose expression is stoic but unyielding. The courtroom is a pressure cooker of emotion and anticipation. The prosecutor nods subtly, confident but measured. The defense remains silent, relying on the raw honesty of the family's testimonies. Every word spoken, every emotion displayed, has built to this moment, a reckoning that will ripple far beyond the courtroom walls. The judge rises slightly, signaling that her deliberation will begin. The court will now consider the evidence, testimonies, and arguments carefully. A verdict will be delivered in due course. Kody exhales slowly, shoulders relaxing just a fraction, though the tension remains. The wives exchange glances, a silent acknowledgement that their unity, more than any legal strategy, has carried them this far. Mary whispers under her breath, "We've faced so much together, and we will continue to." Christine nods, voice soft, almost inaudible. "No matter the outcome, we survive as a family." Even as the court prepares to deliver judgment, the bonds of love and resilience remain unbroken. For now, the courtroom is suffused with a tense, almost suffocating silence. Every heartbeat echoes in Kody's ears as the judge enters once more, robes swaying with measured authority. The jury has submitted their findings, and the moment that the Browns have both feared and anticipated has finally arrived. Kody straightens in his seat, fingers interlaced, jaw tight. The wives sit poised, yet each shows signs of strain, pale lips, eyes darting, hands clenching beneath the table. Every flicker of emotion is magnified under the courtroom lights, every small movement scrutinized by those around them. The judge clears her throat. The court has reviewed the evidence, testimonies, and arguments presented over the past sessions. It is the opinion of this court that a shiver of tension passes through the room. Kody exhales, almost holding his breath. Mary grips the edge of the table. Christine leans forward, and Janelle clasps her hands tightly together. Robin sits upright, eyes fixed on Kody, ready to lend silent support. Moments of truth can feel heavier than any burden carried in secret. The actions taken, while motivated by love and a desire to protect the family, violated certain legal statutes. The court recognizes the complexity of these circumstances and the intent behind them. However, the consequences of these actions must be acknowledged. The prosecutor nods subtly, her expression calm but firm. "The law is clear, Your Honor, and intent does not negate responsibility. Accountability is essential." Kody exhales slowly, his chest rising and falling with the weight of relief and anxiety intertwined. "We knew there would be consequences," he whispers under his breath, "but we faced the worst together, and survived." Mary leans closer, softly, "No matter what happens, Kody, we endure as a family. That's what matters." Christine wipes at her eyes subtly, voice trembling. "We've carried so much in silence, But this trial reminded us that surviving together is more powerful than any judgment handed down. Even in the shadow of judgment, the strength of family bonds can illuminate the darkest moments. Janelle exhales sharply. We've been forced to confront mistakes, to face painful truths, but it's also reminded us of who we are, together resilient and unbroken. Robin finally speaks, voice steady but quiet. We cannot change the past, but we can face the consequences, learn from them and protect our family's future. That's our responsibility now, to each other. The judge continues. In consideration of the family's cooperation, transparency during testimony, and the genuine intent behind their actions, the court issues a verdict of the room holds its collective breath. Kody glances at each wife, their eyes meeting his in silent communication, an unspoken promise to endure whatever comes next. When the world judges, family can be both a refuge and a fortress, shielding hearts from the full force of exposure. The verdict is read, balancing acknowledgement of wrongdoing with recognition of intention and family unity. Relief washes over the family, tempered by the gravity of the lessons learned and the emotional toll endured. Tears are shed quietly, hands clutch one another in silent solidarity, and hearts beat together in a rhythm of shared survival. Mary exhales, leaning her head slightly toward Kody. We've survived the court, but more importantly, we've survived each other. Christine nods softly. And we will continue to, no matter what the world sees or says. Janelle wipes at her eyes. This trial exposed cracks, but it also reminded us of strength, of love, of unity. Robin reaches across, touching Kody's hand. We endure, and we thrive. Together. Even after judgment and turmoil, family, love, and resilience remain the ultimate truth. The courtroom. Empty slowly, the echoes of the judge's gavel lingering like a distant heartbeat. Sunlight streams through the high windows, casting long shadows across the polished floors. The Brown family gathers their belongings quietly, each step measured, as if the weight of the past weeks has made even movement deliberate. Kody walks at the front, shoulders squared but tense. Every choice, every secret, every confrontation from the past sessions seems to press down on him. Yet there is also a strange sense of relief, a knowing that for better or worse, the family has faced the truth and survived. Mary stays close to his side, a silent support that has carried through countless storms. Her hand brushes lightly against his arm, and he feels the warmth of solidarity, the quiet strength of someone who has endured alongside him. We made it, she whispers softly, though the tremor in her voice betrays the mixture of exhaustion and relief. Even when the storm passes, the tremors of its impact can linger, reminding us of how fragile yet resilient family can be. Christine moves behind them, walking slowly, hands clasped together. Her eyes reflect the lingering tension, but there is also clarity. She has faced the harshest scrutiny, confronted her own doubts, and survived the trial of truth. She takes a deep breath, exhaling the weight of weeks spent under the glare of judgment. We're not perfect, she says, quietly to no one in particular. But we're still here. Janelle follows, wiping away a tear, her lips pressed together in a tight line of resolve. She glances at the empty courtroom, at the benches where strangers once watched their every move, and a sense of release washes over her. The scrutiny is behind them now, but the lessons remain. The truths, the regrets, the unspoken fears, and the strength they discovered in each other. Robin walks beside Janelle, steady and composed. Her eyes sweep across the courtroom, one last time, taking in the silence and the echoes of confrontation. She exhales, shoulders relaxing fractionally. It's over, she says softly. Not the past, not the pain, but the trial. We've faced it, and now we move forward. Closure doesn't erase pain, but it offers a path to understanding and healing. Outside the courthouse, the cool autumn air feels different, sharper, fresher, almost cleansing. The family steps out together, united, a quiet defiance in their collective posture. They move as one, a single unit that has been tested in ways few could comprehend. The media cameras flash briefly, but their focus remains inward on each other. Kody pauses, Taking a deep breath, feeling the tension in his chest slowly easing. We face judgment, he says quietly, voice carrying over the light hum of the street. We faced our own mistakes, our fears and our secrets, and we're still standing. Mary reaches up to adjust a strand of her hair, her eyes on him. Standing isn't enough, she says softly, almost a whisper. We survived, but surviving means learning, understanding, growing. We can't just pretend this never happened. Christine nods, stepping closer. She's right, the past can't be erased, and some scars remain. But the strength we found in each other, that's what endures. That's what defines us now. Janelle exhales, voice steady, and maybe that's the lesson. Not about the courtroom, not about legality, but about us. How we love, how we endure, how we protect what matters. Robin glances at each of them, eyes steady. It's not just surviving. It's about resilience, about facing reality together, about carrying forward the lessons learned, without letting bitterness or fear control our future. Even after the most public of trials, the private victories of understanding, empathy, and unity can define a family more than any legal outcome. As they walk down the courthouse steps, each member of the family reflects on their journey, the secrets revealed, the confrontations endured, and the moments of vulnerability that have reshaped their bonds. Kody's mind drifts back to the stand, to the weight of truth he carried while speaking for every wife and child. He remembers the fear, the regret, and the raw honesty he had to summon, and he realizes that this trial, though terrifying, has been a crucible forging a deeper understanding of responsibility and love. Mary glances at him, her eyes soft. You've learned something, haven't you? She asks gently. Kody exhales, nodding. I've learned that love isn't enough, that intentions don't erase consequences, that hiding from the truth only makes it harder. When it comes to light, Christine, walking beside them, adds quietly, and we've learned that trust, even after being tested, can still survive, but only if we communicate, share, and face challenges together. Lessons are often learned in the hardest ways, but they leave a mark that guides the future. Janelle stops for a moment, looking back at the courthouse doors, then at the group. We've been through scrutiny, public exposure, and emotional trials, but we're stronger for it. We've learned the cost of secrecy, the power of honesty, and the resilience of family ties. Robin nods in agreement, voice calm, and maybe the most important lesson is this. Every family has its struggles, its mistakes, its moments of weakness, but those who endure together, who face truth without turning away, can emerge stronger, wiser, and closer than ever before. The children run ahead, laughing lightly for the first time in days, unaware of the full gravity of the trial, but sensing the calm and unity among their parents. Their laughter is a reminder that life continues, that hope persists, and that family bonds, though tested, remain intact. Kody bends slightly to look at them, eyes filled with a mixture of relief, pride, and lingering worry. He have a chance to rebuild, he says softly, to be better, to do better, and to love without fear of hiding. Mary smiles, her hand brushing against his, and we'll do it together, every step of the way. Christine glances at the others, her voice quiet but firm. Together, we face what's ahead. Together, we carry forward the lessons of the past. And together, we choose resilience over fear. Janelle exhales, a small smile breaking through her tension. For the first time in a long while, I feel like we can breathe again. Not just survive, but actually live. Robin's eyes soften, glimmering with quiet determination. And that's the real victory here. Not the verdict, not the law, not even the courtroom battles, but the family that survives, stronger, wiser, and united in truth. Even in the aftermath of judgment and exposure, the bonds that endure are the ones forged in honesty, resilience, and love. As they walk down the street, the family slows, pausing for a moment together. Kody looks at each wife in turn, Mary, Christine, Janelle, Robin, and sees the reflection of shared struggle and shared strength in their eyes. The weight of the trial lingers, but it no longer oppresses. Instead, it has become a testament to their endurance, a symbol of the unbroken bond they share despite adversity. Mary leans slightly into Kody. We face the world, the law, and our own mistakes. And we're still standing. Christine nods, voice soft but resolute. And standing together is more powerful than anything we faced in that courtroom. Janelle smiles faintly, looking at the children who now run ahead freely. The past is behind us. The lessons are with us. And our family is ours to protect and nurture stronger than before. Robin exhales, eyes lingering on the group. The world may judge, scrutinize, and expose us, but our unity, our honesty, and our love define us more than any outside opinion ever could. And in the end, survival isn't just about facing judgment, it's about facing truth, together, and finding strength in each other. As they step into the fading sunlight, the Browns walk side by side, their shadows stretching long and intertwined across the pavement. Every secret revealed, every tear shed, and every fear confronted has shaped them. They are no longer simply a family under scrutiny. They are a family reborn, tempered by adversity, bound by resilience, and guided by the lessons of truth and love. The camera would linger on them, capturing the quiet unity, the strength and the vulnerability. And as they disappear from view, the lesson is clear. No matter how public or private the struggle, families endure when love is coupled with honesty, and courage outweighs fear. Mary glances at Kody one last time. Do you realize what we've learned? Kody nods, voice low but firm. Yes, that even after judgment, even after mistakes, we survive. And that's the story we carry forward. Christine adds softly, and that story is ours, not anyone else's. Ours to protect, to nurture, and to live. Janelle turns to the camera as if addressing the audience, a quiet but heartfelt challenge in her eyes. What would you do if faced with your own family secrets? Could you survive together? Robin smiles faintly, adding, comment below. How would you handle truth, consequences, and family bonds? We want to hear your thoughts. Because the real story isn't just what happens in court, it's what happens when truth meets love, and family fights to endure. The screen fades slowly, as the Browns walk into the distance, united, scarred but stronger, leaving behind a courtroom, but carrying forward a story of endurance, love and resilience. Weeks have passed since the courtroom verdict. The once suffocating weight of public scrutiny has lifted slightly, replaced by a quiet, reflective calm. The Browns are no longer just a family under legal and media pressure. They are a family navigating the aftermath, learning to integrate lessons from the trial into daily life. Kody sits on the back porch of their family home, coffee in hand, watching the sunlight scatter across the yard. The children play quietly in the garden, their laughter lighter now, untouched by the shadow of courtroom tension. He exhales slowly, letting the cool morning air fill his lungs. For the first time in months, he allows himself a moment of stillness, a moment to consider not just survival, but the kind of family he wants to build moving forward. Mary joins him, sliding onto the bench beside him. Her hand rests lightly on his arm. It feels different now, she says softly. The tension is gone, but the lessons they linger. We can't forget what we learned in there. Even after the storm, the echoes of hardship shape the family, but they can also guide the path forward. Kody nods, voice low. I know. We've learned the cost of secrets, the weight of decisions, and the importance of honesty. And we've also learned how resilient we can be when we face everything together. Mary smiles faintly, her eyes reflecting pride and relief. Resilient, yes, but also aware. Strong but cautious. That's what it takes to move forward, without repeating past mistakes. Christine enters the scene, carrying a basket of laundry. Her presence is calm, almost serene compared to the tense courtroom days. She glances at Kody and Mary, a small smile on her lips. It's strange, she says quietly. We've survived the trial, faced exposure, and yet we're still a family, stronger in ways I didn't anticipate. Janelle approaches, her steps measured, expression contemplative. I've spent years keeping peace, hiding doubts, and protecting the family. The trial forced us to confront truths we might have avoided forever. And now we're able to rebuild trust with intention, not just assumption. Robin walks over last, her voice steady, confident, but gentle. We've faced judgment from the public, the law, and even ourselves. And here we are, still walking forward, not as perfect people, but as a family determined to endure. Even after judgment, and exposure, families can rebuild stronger bonds when truth, communication, and love guide them. Later that evening, the family gathers around the dinner table, an image of unity that feels almost sacred after the chaos of the courtroom. The children chatter about school, friends, and playdates, oblivious to the complexities their parents have just navigated. Yet, their presence is grounding, a reminder of why the Browns fought so hard to endure. Kody looks around at his wives, their faces illuminated by the warm glow of the kitchen lights. This family, he begins quietly, is the reason I've faced everything. Not the law, not the scrutiny, not even the fear, but all of you. Each of you makes this worth it. And I promise, moving forward, transparency will guide every choice we make. Mary nods, reaching across the table to touch his hand. Promises are one thing, she says softly, but actions are what matter, and we all have to commit to being honest with each other. Always. Christine leans forward slightly, and we will. We've seen what secrecy can do, and we won't repeat it. We can't. Not if we want this family to truly thrive. Janelle's voice, quiet but firm, joins the conversation. Every mistake, every hidden truth, every confrontation, it's all part of our history. But our future depends on how we move forward, together with clarity and with trust. Robin adds, and let's remember, it's not just about surviving external judgment, it's about facing ourselves, our doubts, and our fears. That's what makes us stronger. True resilience is forged not only in public trials, but in private commitment to honesty, trust, and mutual support. As the evening wears on, the family steps outside to watch the sunset together. The sky is painted in streaks of orange and gold, a quiet, natural symbol of endings and beginnings. The Browns stand shoulder to shoulder, watching the day fade, absorbing the calm after months of turbulence. Mary leans slightly into Kody. Do you think we'll ever forget the trial? She asks softly. Kody shakes his head slowly. No, we can't forget, but we can let it guide us. The trial taught us how fragile trust is, how precious honesty is, and how resilient our love can be. That's what matters now. Christine steps closer, voice quiet but certain. And it also taught us that family isn't about perfection. It's about endurance, forgiveness, and growth. That's what defines us now. Janelle's gaze sweeps across the group. And maybe that's the most important lesson for anyone watching families survive. Not because they avoid mistakes, but because they face them together. Robin smiles faintly, adding, exactly. We endured judgment, exposure, and fear. And we're still here, stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. That's the true victory. The camera would linger on the family, capturing the quiet strength, the vulnerability, and the bonds that have endured trials no one else can fully understand. The children run ahead, laughter filling the yard, a reminder of hope, continuity, and life moving forward. Even after public scrutiny and personal trials, families that face truth, embrace love, and commit to resilience can thrive beyond expectation. Kody looks at his wives, eyes softening. We've faced everything together. The law, the world, and even ourselves. And we've survived. But more importantly, we've learned how to live better, love better, and move forward together. Mary smiles faintly. And that's our story. Not the courtroom battles, not the evidence, not the judgment, but the way we endure, together. Christine turns to the camera, gaze steady. What would you do if your family faced the same exposure, scrutiny, and secrets? Could you survive? Not just the trial, but the emotional aftermath. Janelle adds softly. Comment below. Share your thoughts, because this story isn't just ours. It's a reminder that every family faces trials. How we respond defines us. Robin leans in, a quiet smile on her lips. And remember, even when the world judges, even when mistakes are revealed, the strength of family can guide you forward. Together, you can survive anything. The sun dips below the horizon, bathing the Browns in a golden light. They stand together, shadows stretching long and intertwined, a visual testament to endurance, resilience, and love that has been tested but not broken. The screen fades slowly, leaving viewers with a profound message. Truth, honesty, and commitment to family are what carry us through life's toughest trials. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about surviving judgment, it's about surviving together, stronger than ever, guided by love, truth, and resilience.